I'm Kristin Veitch. I am the resident TV expert on E! Online and E! Entertainment Television. And I am joined today with the man, Mr. Rob Thomas, who I personally love and adore because I love and adore Veronica Mars. So this is very exciting to be here again today. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, well, thanks.
Last night's episode, amazing. And I have to say, just sort of easing into this, that comparing Veronica Mars to other shows who had mysteries last season, it's astounding to me that you not only have kept the dynamic going, you wrapped up the first season mystery, but this season, I was trying to count last night, there are so many mysteries going on that sometimes it's hard to keep track of all of them, and I can only imagine writing the show. You got the bus crash, you got what happened with Jackie, what's happening with Weevil, what happened with the Fitzpatricks, the death on the bridge. So anyway, first of all, just congratulations. It's been a phenomenal season.
Oh, thanks.
How has it felt for you trying to get it sort of going in its sophomore year? Has it been tricky since you did say goodbye to the Lily Kane mystery in the first season?
It's been a hair easier, just because we've done it once before, and we know the structure. And last year, we were learning everything on the fly,
right.
And also last year, it took a little while to find our feet. I felt like it took us 5 or 6 episodes to really know what the show was, but I was really proud of the momentum at the end of the year. Particularly, I thought we had a really good run of episodes up to last year's finale. But I think the nature of our show actually lends itself towards that. What we've done in the last few weeks is break from episode 22, our finale, backwards. I'm so excited about what we have coming up in 16 through 22.
So you know at this point what's going to happen in the finale?
Yeah. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's good stuff.
Yeah?
I'm really jazzed about it this year. I think just the nature of our show, the clues start coming fast and furious as we get towards the end.
Right. And we were introduced last night to Hannah.
Yes.
We have to talk about this because this is
right.
a major development. I hated it, but I liked her. I was absolutely prepared to just detest the ever-loving ground she was walking on, but she's adorable, and I actually really like their dynamic, and I have to tell you, I'm a diehard, love L-O-V-E, as we all know, Logan Veronica fan.
Right.
But that's a very cool twist. What was the incentive to bring in a new person for Logan?
We liked the end moment. We loved the idea of a moment where we set it up as straight romantic comedy. Like, look at this sort of bit of sweetness, which is odd for our show, and seeing Logan in what looks like a very sort of gentle and sweet place with the girl, and to have that twist at the end is what made us love it.
Right, that he has ulterior motives.
Right.
And we can't ever really let Logan be 100% good, right? I mean, he's still got to keep that. When I think about how he was in the pilot, we detested him, and it's been, I think, one of the most amazing 180s that I've seen on television, where we all totally adore Logan now. So I guess it seems to me that was a reminder that, Logan does have this sort of dark side to him. Right.
Yeah, and I really worry about that going away, and I certainly know that there are so many fans who are pulling for a Veronica Logan relationship. There were moments, I will say, and they have great chemistry, and hopefully we've got 5 years of this show being on the air at the minimum, and I can promise you that those two will hook up again someday. Maybe next week, maybe in year 4. I don't want to give any of that away. I know the great dynamic that they have, but there were times at the end of the year when we were writing the show that I missed the snark. When I have Veronica and Logan being sweet to each other, I miss his bad boy ways, and so we're having fun with him this year. I enjoy Veronica Logan, whether they're dating or not dating.
Now, something I found fascinating, now tell me whether this is true or not, but wasn't it true that Jason Dohring initially was supposed to be her main love interest, he was going to play Duncan? Is this true at all?
No. But Jason,
never mind. No.
but there's a kernel of truth of that.
Okay.
Jason originally came in and read for the Duncan role,
okay.
and we said, would you read for Logan? And when he read for Logan, it was over. The people we took to network and studio for that role, other than Jason, were just a row of sacrificial lambs. He was the guy we wanted. Yeah.
Is it true that the woman who plays Meg was your second choice for Veronica?
Yes, Alona Tal, and she was literally just off the plane. She had just come to Los Angeles from her native Israel.
Oh, wow.
English is very much her second language. She's amazing, and if I were going to cast a teen show pilot right now, she would be at the top of my list of people to get. I really love her as an actress, and hated losing her on our show. It was not an easy call.
Yeah, absolutely. She is phenomenal, and we actually have some questions from you who are at home. You can call in and ask questions for Rob. And we have Chris from Sampson, New York. Let's see if we can get him on the line here. Hello, Chris. Chris. Hello, Chris.
Yeah, I'm there.
Hi.
Hi.
I found the right button. How exciting.
I was just wondering if Rob had a different plot in mind for season 2. Had he been able to use Duncan and Wallace for every episode? Like, would Meg have been pregnant, and would Wallace have gone to Chicago still?
Well, if I could have had Wallace for every episode, then no, he would not have gone to Chicago for we wanted to figure out sending Wallace away was to a certain extent. We decided to rip the Band-Aid off and really, we're going to take 4 of his episodes that we can't see him and actually write it into a storyline as opposed to just peppering him in and out of episodes. Like, maybe you see him, maybe you don't, because we love him in the show, and if I had if I had everything that I wanted, he'd be in every episode. And we had come
You're
up
not
with,
just saying that because he's going to be calling in any minute now, are you?
I had actually forgotten that.
We love Percy. Yes.
No, honestly, when he was out in episodes 6, 7, 8, 9, we were dying to have him back. So that was tough on the writing staff as well.
Right.
But it wouldn't have affected the overall mystery, the who sent the bus off the cliff mystery. That had been determined before I knew how many episodes I'd have each actor for.
Now, are we going to be finding out the resolution of that mystery in the finale? Can you say that at this point?
The bus? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that you will know who was responsible for the bus going off the cliff in the finale. Absolutely. Yes.
And what about the murder on the bridge and the Fitzpatricks and that whole thing? Is that going to be a longer-term storyline than just this season? Or do you
that all wraps up this season as well. And
I like it because you deliver.
Right.
You tease us a little bit, but we get answers.
We try to reward the fan who comes back each week. We will, that's going to resolve this year. Last year, with the 2 big mysteries that we had, Veronica's rape and Who Killed Lily Kane, we really solved them in 21-22. What happened the night on the bridge story, actually, it has a number of resolutions that sort of, not only who did it, but will there be justice? All these questions that sort of land in some of our later episodes this year.
Excellent. Okay, Christina from West Virginia has a question. Hello, Christina.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
I'd just like to say I love you and your show so much.
Oh, thanks.
I'd also like to say that I loved Veronica and Duncan together. So I was wondering, I noticed last night that Teddy Dunn was still in the credits, so I was wondering if that meant that he would be coming back soon, or if that was just something that you'd fixed during hiatus.
The situation there is the way an actor lands in the main titles is if we have them in a deal that holds them for 12 episodes. If they're in 12 episodes and they have a contract with us with the show, then they're in the main titles. That's how it's dictated. Like, I know a lot of people wonder why Sheriff Lamb isn't in the main titles, and it's he could quit the show tomorrow. We don't have him under contract. We wish we did, honestly. I mean, he's done a fantastic job for us this year. So what I'm saying is Teddy Dunn is a series regular. He'll be in the main titles throughout the year. You might be able to do the math and figure out whether you'll see him again or not. But I like those things to come out as surprises rather than sort of just deliver them.
Right. And I do want to talk about that for a minute, just because obviously there was sort of a divided fan base.
Right.
A lot of people wanted her with Logan, and a lot of people also liked Duncan. Writing that episode where he's leaving, that must have felt like pretty important and pretty difficult from the standpoint that you do have this divided fan base.
Right.
How do you appease both sides? So can you talk about how tricky that was?
Well, since I wasn't successful in appeasing both sides, I'm not sure I can really answer that question.
I just want to go on the record and say I honestly loved that episode. It was one of my favorite, and I was shocked when I went online the next day to see that a lot of people really detested that.
Right.
And I've said that without you in the room.
Right,
so I really, truly, I don't know if it's because I know Teddy Dunn in real life, that I just absolutely adore him, and I was sad to see him go, and I was happy to see him get a nice sort of heroic send-off. So you have someone who loves the episode.
Well, good.
And I know I'm not alone.
Yeah, that episode really divided people. There's certainly a faction of fans out there who believe that there was something underhanded about the Duncan character that, as writers, we didn't quite see. I mean, I felt like we wrote in some very essential character flaws. I often speak of Duncan as my Ethan Frome, sort of paralyzed by guilt and responsibility. But people really read some sort of nefarious, ulterior things into his character that we didn't see. You know, there's people wondering what he did in the bedroom with Kendall. Well, we left that question out there, but at the end of the day, he did nothing with Kendall other than send her out, and so Veronica, who didn't seem terribly concerned, was sort of justified in not being concerned about what Duncan did in the bedroom with Kendall. However, the audience would be very, very quick to forgive whatever Logan does with anyone. He can, setting fire to the city swimming pool, bygones.
He's Logan. He's cute. We forgive him.
Right,
yeah.
but if Duncan waits 4 days to admit that he found out that his ex-girlfriend is pregnant, he should be crucified for that.
Right.
People are pretty tough on Duncan. We didn't read him that way, but certainly a faction did, and I think when he did get a sweet send-off with where it was clear that Veronica still had strong feelings for him, some people resented it.
Right. I think we actually have a clip of his goodbye. Do we have that? The big Duncan send-off? Or we could just reenact it. Do you have a wig and a cowboy hat?
Yes.
Could go to Mexico. Yeah. Do we have that?
Good luck, y'all.
Thanks.
You too.
Necesita un paseo. Sí. Gas, grass, or ass, kid. Nobody rides for free.
30 grand.
Pleasure doing business. Ooh, you pay better than your mom.
You ready to see your daddy? She won't let go of my fingers.
She thinks you're Veronica.
Yeah, so does the FBI.
Hey, Lily. Daddy's here. Everything's gonna be all right.
Now, I I just want to say it wasn't an entirely positive send-off for Tenny Dunn because he did have a bad hair moment at the very end there. So for you who are really upset about the heroic send-off, there was that. The part down the middle, the hat head. But no, just looking at that, what are your thoughts on, sort of the division of the fans, and would you have done it differently now that you know that there was that reaction from a part of the fan base?
There are things I would have done differently. Certainly, I don't think that ending is what I would have done differently. I
love the ending.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we did fail in doing is creating enough sweet moments, romance moments between Veronica and Duncan. So they felt like that relationship wasn't earned. They didn't see the good side. I thought we had a couple great moments of them together. And the funny thing is, I actually think one of the sweetest moments is when Duncan realizes that he hasn't officially asked Veronica to the homecoming dance. And people pilloried him for that. And yet I felt like those two were so sweet and fantastic together in that scene. So I think that's one of the reasons people didn't buy into the relationship, because we didn't give them enough reason to. And then things that I just felt like were pretty normal teenage boy things, like being afraid to tell Veronica what he knows about Meg's condition, things that I certainly forgive him for. The audience who's so loyal to Veronica, I think largely didn't forgive Duncan for that, and then resented Veronica for not dropping him. We certainly we needed to give the audience more reasons to believe in that relationship.
Right. I have to say, though, in that episode, the scene where she's faking her breakup misery, I think one of the funniest scenes ever. And I don't know, maybe I was gullible, but I bought into the whole breakup. I was surprised that she was faking it, and I thought, wow, finally, a moment that I can relate to from my own because I was nowhere near as cool as Veronica. And, as a teenage girl, we all have been there where you really are just sort of locking yourself in your room. But then, of course, it turned out Veronica is much cooler than any of the rest of us, which is how she should be, right? Okay, let's take some more calls here. We have Chancey from Houston, Texas. Chancey?
Hey, Kristin.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. Rob, to you and your crew, last night's episode was great.
Oh, fantastic.
Really liked it. My question is this. As of last week, it appeared that Weevil got his answers as far as what he was looking for with the whole Fitzpatrick thing. Will he and Logan continue to work together to resolve that, or will we see Logan working more on his own to get the charges dropped?
You're going to see all of that. You'll see a little more of them working together, and then at a certain point, Logan's motivation for solving it becomes less than Weevil's. Weevil, beyond his desire to know, Weevil has more of a righteous fury attached to it that we think plays out beautifully. We're shooting the episode right now where Weevil makes his point, and it's awesome. It's going to be so good. Weevil fans, I think, will be very pleased with how that plays out.
Excellent. And one thing we absolutely have to talk about, the huge news of the CW.
Right.
Which no one saw coming. Did you have any inkling?
Had no idea.
So you were just as shocked as the rest of us.
I can't believe how well that secret was kept.
Right. Have you thought of what your dream pairing with Veronica might be for next season?
Oh, yeah, of course. We, Tuesdays at 9 right after the Gilmore Girls. That's what we're, I've even read that a few places. Entertainment Weekly suggested that. I read a quote that Les Moonves has said, this is Don Ostroff's dream schedule, Veronica Mars after Gilmore Girls. So, yeah, we'd take those 6 million fans as a lead-in of a teen girl night. That would be very good for us.
It would be an excellent combination. And I did see Don Ostroff's parking space right outside, so I'm just going to camp out and just be heard.
Yes.
That's what I would like to happen.
That's what I would like to happen as well.
Are you concerned at all about the possibility of the show not ending up on the schedule, or do you feel pretty good about next season?
I feel pretty good. I'm certainly all the press features us. They, the articles, and even the comments from both Les Moonves and Don Ostroff would lead one to believe that we'll be on the schedule next year. Now, I think we need to continue growing in our ratings. We need to justify our existence. Good ratings and good reviews and a really loyal fan base will, or I should say rabid fan base will get you somewhere, but it won't always guarantee that you'll be back. So we need to keep trying to bring fans in.
Right. Okay. Well, we have Percy on the line now.
Percy who?
Percy, I think he's on your show. Percy? Yeah, Wallace, maybe? Hello, Percy?
Hey, what's up, Kristin?
Hello,
What's up?
how are you?
I'm doing real good. I'm glad y'all brought Cool Wally on. I was hoping to get on. How you doing, Rob?
I'm still hurting from the Super Bowl, as I know you know.
As your and so is Dan Etheridge.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard you were out there, right?
No, I sent my dad to the Super Bowl, and he got to go. I was born in Washington State. My dad's a lifelong, last 30 years Seahawks fan. So that was a little painful, though. My Spurs and my Longhorns are both champions, so I guess it was a little too much to ask in one year for me.
You can't have too much, right?
I think it's going to be a tough year for you, Rob. I don't know about those Spurs, man. Phoenix is hot.
All right. We'll see.
So, Percy, are you calling from San Diego?
I'm calling from Long Beach. I'm at home right now, and it is hot as fish grease out here.
It's so like 86 degrees today for all of you who are not in California and are hating us right now.
I know it, right?
Flip-flops, shorts, weather, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I just jumped off the diving board and ran back in the house. It is that hot.
Now, you're living in Long Beach now? Because weren't you living with Teddy Dunn?
No, I lived with Teddy Dunn last season when we kicked off the season. Yeah, I live at home now, and I commute back and forth. But, if I need to stay there, I stay in San Diego and work and come back home.
Cool. Well, we are so glad to have you back on the show. I'm sure, as you know, the fans really direly missed you, and they were so thrilled to see that you're back, and your storylines are heating up.
Yeah, I'm playing games with these young ladies. Wallace.
You're a heartbreaker, Percy.
You know what? Wallace is just starting to get, and I like how they're playing it, though, because he's still playing in a very honest way. He's still the same person, but he's just getting a little more comfortable in his skin. He's a senior, and he's dating, and, he's best friends with Veronica Mars, who while everybody hates, they still love because she can do so many dynamic things. So I like what's going on. I'm getting some work, and I'm back. I felt like hiatus when I was gone, so it's good to be back.
I have to say, I think everybody loved you sort of putting Jackie in her place a little bit.
Hey, you got to check her.
That was good fun.
She did me wrong. She broke Wallace's heart. I was glad the fans was hurting with me because, Wallace's heart is so big. Why hurt little Wallace like that? You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. All right, well, we have a question for you from Jenny in Wichita, Kansas. Jenny, hello.
Hey, Jenny.
Hi.
Go ahead.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you all?
I'm doing great. Real good.
Well, I just have to say, first of all, rub in the warm weather. That is not sorry. We were nice and warm in the 50s. It was going good, and now we get a cold front, and it's in the 40s, and I'm not happy.
I'm so sorry to hear that, because we got a heat wave. I'm sorry you got to deal with that.
Well, I kind of have a three-part question for Percy.
Wow. Three-part question. Okay,
yeah.
I'm braced and ready.
I was sitting here making notes as you all were talking.
Percy, I think you have a fan.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm ready. What's up, Jenny?
Well, speaking of fans, that's my first part. Is are you surprised at all the fan support?
Surprised? Nah. I'm surprised. I'm actually a little. I kind of anticipated us growing, not to sound too confident, but I anticipated us growing because we were confident underdogs, Jenny. We didn't, a lot of people didn't expect us to get past 13.
Right.
So then we came back, and we got people like Kristin fighting for us on E, and a lot of people in all these different places fighting for us. I just, and especially on the network, on that network, we brought great things to that. So I'm not really surprised, but grateful. I'm grateful.
Right. Well, are you glad that Wallace is back now?
Oh my God, am I? Am I? It's a tough feeling sitting at home and knowing that everybody's working and they're putting together all these great episodes, and it flashes on the screen and you see the reruns and it's like, oh my God, they're back and I'm not. So yeah, I'm very happy to be back.
Well, you mentioned that it felt like a hiatus. It felt like a hiatus to us too. Believe me.
Oh man.
And then my third question is, how do you feel now that Jackie is actually being nice?
Man, I think I like her.
She's not so bad now that she's actually human.
Yeah, she's, there's a lot of, everybody has different layers, and she's actually showing a real good side of her.
Right. It's a nice turnaround.
Now, Percy, I have to ask you, did she annoy you like she annoyed the rest of us in the beginning?
In the beginning, yeah, I was annoyed at the fact that Wallace is, she's cute, but I was annoyed that Wallace is liking this girl. I'm like, of all the girls in Neptune, Wallace is liking the bitchy one. Okay.
Strap on a pair, right?
Wallace was one of those, thanks to Rob, Wallace was one of those take what he can get kind of guys. Wallace was, hey, gratitude. What was it, Rob? He's just doing things for gratitude, solving crimes for gratitude. But I think, he actually genuinely started to like her. And I was a little annoyed, but, man, it's turning around. So we'll see what happens. We got some real good stuff coming up as far as me and Jackie. And, you guys saw last night, Wallace had a little soft spot for her last night. So
Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you, Jenny. I think we now have a question from Sarah.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, I am so happy to be hearing both of you. It's amazing. And I wanted to ask, Veronica Mars clearly addresses racism, and I've never heard you speak to that, and I'm wondering if you could. Is the message just racism still exists, or is there something else that's going on?
I can tell you racism still exists. I just had to deal with it this weekend, and that's a very long story. But yeah, it doesn't. We don't directly address it as far as actually, in some of the comments and things we make, we do. But that's definitely true. Racism does still exist. But then you get. And what I enjoy about Wallace and the young ladies that he dates and doesn't date and the friends that he's with and that he has is, there are people who operate in this world without those color lines. There are people who appreciate you genuinely for who you are. And I think that's what she saw in Wallace and Wallace saw in Veronica, and that's why they became friends. But, yeah, that's the nature of the world. It was in my high school. When you can walk in just about any high school in America, and you can see the cliquish kind of separate nature of how they are. You can find certain people in this area and in this area. So it's like that, but and it's sad to see, but at the same time, it is what it is. It is what we live with.
Mm-hmm. What I love is that, with Wallace and Veronica, it's just so natural that they're friends, and it's never been a point on the show to point out that, she's white and he's black. It's like they obviously connect on so many different levels, but can you maybe talk to that at all?
Because if you notice in the Richard and Rucker Go to White Castle episode, when Wallace and Veronica go to the frat party, and Wallace has to deal with, trying to talk to the basketball player, they walk up to the frat house, and he kind of tells Veronica that they don't blend. They're not going to really blend in with them.
Right,
but,
cute little blonde girl doesn't really fit in, yeah.
And we address it in little ways like that, but at the same time, it was nice to see you can see that it doesn't matter to them. Like, their friendship stands the way it is, regardless of whether she blends in that or not. And just the same way he is at school, I'm sure, it can be assumed that people probably look at Wallace like that at Neptune High, but he still walks around with a big smile on his face, and that's how a lot of young African Americans, people like me, have to do every day. Just going to different places, in a bank, in a store, anywhere. So that's one of my joys of portraying his characters, because he doesn't see it. I get it when I come into places. Do you feel like they make you act white, or do you feel like they make you act this way, or do you have a problem with being Veronica, trailing Veronica Mars all the time? And I'm like, that's unfortunate that you see it that way. Watch the show a little closer. He's his own individual. That's just his best friend, and maybe you just can't see how people can be friends that way. But it's something it's something that you got to deal with. But I enjoy it. I just like the way I like the dynamic of the friendship, white, black, or whatever.
Yeah, there are questions about race that we ask ourselves every day in the writers' room. There are, believe me, when we have Percy, who we know is a fantastic basketball player in real life, and we ask the question in the writers' room. Now, if we say that Wallace is a basketball player and we show clips of Percy playing basketball in the show, is that somehow making a racist choice to portray our? We had. And there's certainly, we're trying to place, there are shows that attempt to be colorblind. I know, like the show Clueless, certainly it's a colorblind universe and we're all wonderful and pretty and popular. But in Veronica Mars, we are trying to do a show that has very tough class lines and race lines in the high school. So, there are tough moments where, okay, Dick Casablancas is going to make a joke about Weevil selling oranges in front of his house. The feeling is, well, we have to make sure Weevil dishes it back as good as he gets there. And we went over an interesting...
No one expects Dick Casablancas to say anything even remotely PC whatsoever, right? Is his... he's sort of hateable in every way.
And it's tricky because Dick is both hateable and certainly I wouldn't let my daughter date him, and yet we adore writing for him on the show. We ask ourselves sort of those race questions every week. It's a tough line to... sometimes there are characters on our show who are racist, and a character like Dick who... And I think he's the picture of sort of ignorant racism in the sense that he's, but he gets charming moments. He gets moments where he's pretty likable, and I think a lot of shows will, okay, this is the racist evil character.
Right.
Certainly Logan has had comments that are very non-PC, and yet people love him. I want our characters to have flaws, except for Wallace, who's pretty perfect.
Right, well, who doesn't love Wallace? And that said, actually, just before we let you go, Percy, I just want to ask, would you like your character and Veronica to hook up? Because there has been some talk among the fans that they would, maybe like to see that happen.
Would me personally, Percy Daggs like Wallace.
Be careful because her boyfriend might be listening.
Man, I don't have a girlfriend, and I know Kevin. Hey, Kevin, no offense. She's, listen, I'm not going to step on any toes because I don't really know what direction they're going in. I know I've got a lot of comments as far as fans and people who ask me that often, and they say, I can see it coming. Is it coming? This, that, and the other, and it'll be interesting. We are on our way to college, I believe, real soon, and they're very close friends, so I wouldn't mind if it happened, you know what I mean? And, I think it would work out well, but, you never know. They're BFFs.
Right.
That's good for right
Did you want to answer that, Rob?
I will tell you that it's not on the board. It has been discussed. Okay. We'd have to find the perfect way to dial that in. Yeah.
Percy, I would stay as her friend because we've seen how it worked out for Duncan.
Oh, boy.
You might be shipped off to Mexico. So you just stay as her best bud. We like you as that.
I'm comfortable in my seat. I'm real comfortable right now.
All right, well, you go out and enjoy that beautiful weather.
I will.
And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for bringing me on. It was nice to talk to you. And thanks, Sarah and Jenny, for your questions. I appreciate it.
Oh, see, that he's so smart. He remembers the names. He slides it in there. It's a ladies' man. Your girlfriend's a lucky girl.
Rob, you need those ratings up, man. You need me to take my shirt off or something. Whatever you need.
He's not shy of that, Percy Daggs. No. All right, you take care, Percy. Thank you so much.
No problem. Bye, Rob.
Okay.
But he raises a good point because the pilot episode when originally in the script I did Wallace wasn't supposed to be physically imposing, and the first time we ever see him he's taped up to the flagpole, and of course we take off Percy's shirt to tie him up to the flagpole and he's ripped, and I'm like, what 12 PCHers got him on the flagpole? It gave a whole new dynamic to that scene that I wasn't quite envisioning.
Right. Okay, Ashley in Florida. Are you there, Ashley? Hello, Ashley?
Hello.
Hi, did you have a question for Rob?
Yes. I had a question. I've noticed that Veronica, even though she seems like she doesn't like the upper class, is always dating 09ers and is generally involved with people of the upper class. I was wondering if there were plans for her to date someone more of her socioeconomic status.
Well, certainly we thought Deputy Leo was that person. That was certainly a nod in that direction. The intention that she is always dating 09ers wasn't supposed to be a thing, but I certainly see how you get that. I imagine that particularly next season, class when she's off at college is going to be much less of an issue. So the Deputy Leo was sort of nod in that direction, and she's got a little bit of romantic life left in this season. She's a little gun shy, but there's going to be some movement in that direction.
Yeah, I have to tell you that when the question came up on the board, it said, who will Veronica date next? Which I really wanted to know, and then she kind of asked it in a different way.
But the good thing is, if
us.
she had asked me who she's dating next, I wouldn't have answered. So it was better worded this way.
That's why I get nowhere, because those are the questions I ask, and you can't tell me. But yeah, and are you allowed to say it? Are you allowed? Could you ask Rob Thomas if you're allowed to say anything about just the Hannah relationship? I mean, is that something that are we going to see her for a while on the show?
Yes.
Yes. Fantastic. Well, I like those yes or no answers.
Yeah.
Okay, Penny from Miami has been holding for a while now, so let's go with her. Penny, hi. Go ahead.
I'm getting an echo here, so but what I'd really love is if you could settle a debate that's been going on Television Without Pity.
Okay.
What did Celeste Kane know, and what didn't she know in Donut Run?
She didn't know anything. She was never in it at all. And Vinnie Van Lowe wasn't in it until the moment that Veronica handed him that envelope to Duncan. Veronica knew that he would open it, and inside that envelope was the offer. So Celeste, completely uninvolved, and I couldn't tell you whether she's whether Duncan has been in contact with her, though I doubt it. And the only reason I can't tell you that is because I haven't thought about it that long. But Celeste was blind to the whole thing. They used Celeste's tenacity to their advantage in a way. And what the other thing that they used for Celeste is, I mean, we really tried to set up that Astrid, her house cleaner, did not like Celeste at all, and that they would have a willing helper in with the plan.
She's so hateable, which I love. Okay, Amanda from Massachusetts. Are you there, Amanda?
Hi.
Hi, go ahead.
Well, Rob, first of all, I wanted to congratulate you on actually making Jackie likable.
Thanks.
And also, I wanted to know if we are going to get to hear anything about the Aaron Eccles trial. I mean, I know you went over budget on True Hollywood Story, but are you ever going to hit that?
Yes. We are going to play Aaron Eccles' trial. In fact, we were just talking about in the writer's room just the last couple days, we've been talking about a scene where Veronica is deposed before the actual trial. You're going to see Aaron Eccles' trial. You're going to see Veronica testify in it. We're going to get the verdict in this year.
God, a lot of big stuff coming up.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we're really jazzed about these final few episodes. We're right now in the room where nearly done breaking episode 20, and then we just have 21 and 22, and we kind of already know the beats. We just haven't fleshed them all out for the final two. But yeah, you're going to see Aaron Eccles' trial. Absolutely.
And for that trial, might E be covering it? Because just FYI, I am available.
And we did, we did get the, we do have our E! True Hollywood Story. It's, you'll see it in episode 16, I believe, 15, and it's Tinseltown Diaries is what it was renamed. And we ended up having to drop just a couple elements, including the lovely Kristin, in an attempt to make our schedule work for the episode.
I'm gonna cry again. That was the best and worst email I ever received. It's true you were in the script, but wah wah, you have been cut. That's okay though. I'll continue to watch and love the show.
All right, it will happen someday.
I would have messed it up somehow. I'm not worried.
The next time we need an entertainment reporter, you are in.
Right. When Veronica makes it big and becomes a movie star, I will be there. Okay, Kyle from Pennsylvania. Hello, Kyle.
Yes.
Hi. Go ahead.
Hi, Rob. I am a huge former Buffy Angel fan, and I have to say I am so glad that you created this show to kind of the void that was left there afterwards.
Oh, thanks so much.
It's really nice to have a strong female role model out there for girls, and one that actually has a brain, as opposed to a lot of how women are getting portrayed on TV. I really I love the show, and I want to hear about plot things and stuff like that. But I'd also like to hear a little bit more from you personally, like what background you've had, what other jobs you've had, what kind of schooling you've had. Just because this aspect of Hollywood is really appealing to me, and I'm going to school to kind of figure out how to become like a writer for a television show or something like that. Like, I just want to hear a little bit more about you personally.
Sure. I actually got my start teaching high school journalism. And I taught high school for 5 years, and I started playing in a rock band when I was 19 and played in it for 9 years. And this was all my quest. And it was the writing part of being in a band that I was interested in. It was, I wanted to be Elvis Costello. I wanted to be Pete Townsend. I wanted to write great words for songs. And the unfortunate part of that is I'm a really pedestrian at best bass player. So I sort of beat my head against the wall playing in a band on weekends while teaching high school during the weekdays. And eventually I had a job offer in Los Angeles. It was not exactly in the entertainment business. It was for Channel 1, a television news show for high school kids. And I came out here in a very sort of bureaucratic job. It was not a creative job, and I had to quit the band to do that. And once I quit the band, I had this huge creative void in my life, and I started writing a novel. And the one good thing about living in LA and writing a novel is that you knew that everyone else in the town was writing screenplays. So when you were in the coffee shop with your laptop, hey, at least I'm not trying to make it doing that.
Right.
And I sold my first young adult novel to Simon & Schuster, and then moved back to Texas, wrote 3 more novels and a collection of short stories, and sort of got an interesting nudge towards television. Sort of the best money gig that I had at that time was novelizing X-Files episodes, and I would be sent a copy of the X-Files script and then a video of the episode, and I would turn it into a 120-page novella. And it was good practice. I mean, not for screenwriting, but at least for reading what a television script looked like. And then I was very fortunate that a high-ranking executive for Sony at the time read my first novel and suggested to the producers of Dawson's Creek that they hire me, and that's sort of how I made it out here. And that is a very unusual way to come out and become a writer in television. The more usual way is to possibly study writing in college, come out here immediately after college, try to get an assistant's job on a show, work as an assistant for 3 or 4 years until your boss finally gives you a script, hope you knock that out of the park,
right.
and then wealth and fame awaits.
Right.
Yeah.
Although that's kind of like winning the lottery in this town, right?
Yes,
difficult.
And, it's difficult, but it's possible too. I mean, the people who are really determined and dogged and really explore every possibility and do their 2 drama spec scripts a year and stay on top of it. If they have talent, eventually, the nice thing about writing is it although not entirely, but mostly is a meritocracy. If the words are on the page, you will eventually get hired.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now, he was just talking about what a great role model Veronica is, and she continues to be my favorite character on television. I want to be friends with her. I want to be her. I think she's amazing. And last night, I think one of the most incredible scenes was the whole resolution where we find out exactly who stole the money and all of that. And I believe we have that, which is talking about her little magic trick.
Right.
So let's go to that clip now.
This, but they formed this totally false accusation. I know. Yikes. I figured you might welcome the opportunity to apologize.
You didn't steal the money. I'm sorry.
Totally worth it. Oh, I found this in a copy machine. What
did you get this? This is my exam.
In the copy machine. Am I still speaking English?
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing at the copy machine?
Making coffee?
This exam is locked up in my filing cabinet.
Not anymore. Only question now is who had access. Who knows your code to the copy machine?
Just my student aide.
Perhaps when he borrowed your keys?
She's trying to sabotage me. I am like this close to beating her out for the Kane Scholarship. This is just like the stuff that she does. She planted it.
And for my next trick, I will take JB into the hallway, whisper a few magic words, and when we return, he'll confess.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Don't oversell it, JB. People will think you're a mark. Step right this way. Pretty bold move, making a copy of Mrs. Hauser's test right under her nose.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I confess.
But you knew she'd be distracted, didn't you? You knew there'd be streakers at precisely 4 p.m., didn't you? Did you forget that I took pictures of last year's Triton initiation? I made a promise to a certain Triton that his secret was safe, but he's long gone.
That still doesn't prove...
I'll bet if we check the copy machine log, it'll tell us that copies were made with Mrs. Hauser's code, say 4:03, 4:04 p.m. Should I call them over?
You're bluffing. The copy machine can't do that.
Well, here's your choice. You can call my bluff, and we'll all find out exactly what the copy machine can do. Of course, if you choose that option, I'm posting this Triton's photo on your homepage. I've heard what happens to Tritons who reveal their secrets.
I don't have a homepage.
You will. Then there's option 2. Confession. Reveal your secret powers.
I just love her. I really do. I mean, she's just so phenomenal. Has Kristen Bell worked out even better than you would have ever imagined?
Oh, yeah.
She's so good.
Yes, she's awesome.
And she's on the cover of Maxim, I just heard, for the next
know,
month. Hello.
I know.
Our little Veronica's all grown up.
Yes. Apparently, I think Joel Silver wanted her to do the Maxim cover for months and months, and somehow I think with Joel's pushing and the Harvey and Max Weinstein pushing for her movie, she finally agreed to do it. I'm not sure that it was something she was running out to do.
Right.
I think there was a little nudging involved in that, but American men will benefit from Harvey and Bob and Joel.
Right, and
Yes.
she also has a movie coming out, I believe. It was just pushed back to July.
Pulse, yeah.
Pulse,
She
yeah.
shot it in Romania during the last hiatus.
Right. And how do you feel about, I mean, she's sort of just blowing up and becoming this movie star and cover girl.
It's fantastic. You know, I mean, we want her to get to do everything that she can do and still do our show.
Right,
you know,
right. It certainly worked out for The Office. It sort of reminds me with Steve Carell. The
Right.
ratings were not so great, and then he did 40-Year-Old Virgin, and it can
Right.
bring new eyeballs to a series.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hope she books a great movie for this hiatus, and she's even trying to do a little stuff on the weekends. It's not only am I pulling for Kristen Bell, but it certainly I think can help our show.
Right, absolutely. Okay, Derek, are you there? Hello, Derek?
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
Hi, Rob and Kristen.
Hey.
Big fans of the show, big fans of the column.
Oh, thank you.
I'll tell you that. I also would like to say that my friend Holly and I both miss Duncan. We hope to see him again before too long.
All right.
And my question is, both my friend Holly and I are big Buffy and Angel fans, and we love all of the references to Buffy, Kendall and Logan's sister, and the Joss Whedon cameo. We were just wondering if we can expect anything else in the future, or
there's nothing that's truly Buffy-centric in the works. There's much more cool Charisma Carpenter stuff in the year.
So she's coming back.
We'll see Charisma several more times, and she's got some juicy stuff going on. So I don't think we'll see anyone else from Buffy from now until the end of the year, though if anyone hears that Seth Green's a Veronica Mars fan, we'll write something for him tomorrow. Right. And then I know certainly the hardcore Veronica Mars fans who go on the websites have probably already heard this news, but I'm very excited that the two kids from Arrested Development are in episode 16.
I tell you, I love them.
I do too, and they're both great. And it's funny because Michael and Allie are playing college freshmen in our show, and of course they're 17 years old. Our actors are all in their early 20s playing high school seniors. So it's a funny juxtaposition, but it works. It works. Right. Yeah.
Now, if Arrested Development is canceled, will you please just employ all those people?
I would
bring them over to Veronica Mars.
I would kill to do that. Yeah, I adore that show. In fact, my big plan for Friday night is to sit down for the 4 Arrested Development episodes.
Now, I just have to tell Derek, because it made me think of this, a little bit of scoop, since we were talking about the CW, and Joss Whedon obviously would be so amazing on that new network. If you are interested in knowing that Firefly might possibly be coming back, check out my column at E! Online, and I would love to see some Joss Whedon show paired with your show. I know we're saying Gilmore Girls, but I think Gilmore Girls maybe has another season, so I'm seeing season following. If we could get Joss Whedon and you together, I mean,
I would
just roll over and die.
I would love that too, as long as Joss Whedon's development doesn't replace us.
Right.
Exactly. Assuming that isn't, if that doesn't happen,
let me rephrase that. This is what I want. Rob Thomas night on Tuesdays, Joss Whedon night on Wednesdays, then you on Thursday, then him on Fridays.
It could be a combo night. Just as long as I still have a show on the network, I'm happy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you guys have such a similar sensibility, I think, and I know he is a huge fan of Veronica Mars, which he's come out on the record and said.
It's been really, really wonderful of him. Right. It's been great, yeah.
Very cool. Okay, Julie has been holding forever. Thank you so much for your patience. Julie, are you there?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, go ahead.
So I know that everything that's been put out by UPN and by the WB and everything about CW has said that Veronica Mars is going to be there. But all that was put out before the most recent episodes. The most recent episodes have all had really bad ratings.
Well, aren't you a Debbie Downer?
So, are you worried?
Yeah.
Can I give my take on that? And I obviously, this is an independent person's point of view. South Beach has not been doing very well. So you can't perhaps say that, but I would say that if you had a stronger lead in at this point, you were doing better after Top Model.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I can say that. I mean, it's just straight math. I mean, we went from having a lead-in with a 5 share to having a lead-in with a 0.7 share. The network knows that. Right. And also, we were off the air for 6 weeks, and you always suffer when people sort of out of sight, out of mind. So, yeah, I mean, it concerns me. I wish we would have done our same number with a different lead-in. We quadrupled our lead-in when it's South Beach.
Right. Which is pretty amazing. I think a lot of people at home might not realize that the network does take into consideration those factors. It's not just, your numbers comparing to numbers from the past few months. It's what you're coming out of, what you're leading into, the flow of viewership. Right. So I would think they would,
They absolutely factor it in, but she's right. It would have been better if we would have held steady.
Right.
Any way you look at it, that would have been better. But they know that they put us in a sort of a tricky position for these weeks.
Right. How people could have been watching and aren't continuing to want to know why the bus went over the cliff and what's happening with the Fitzpatricks and all those different mysteries is just unbelievable to me. But my sense is I'm sure they'll come back. Top Model is starting up again in a few weeks. So
it is interesting, and I do wonder if our show is different than most. But when people talk to us about when network numbers, people talk to us about viewership and habits and television habits, most people, even with their favorite shows, only see 1 out of 4 episodes. That I think there are a lot of people, particularly who will watch something like this online or who are in the business, who think, and certainly I'm one of the people, I have to see my favorite shows every week. But the typical viewer in America, the typical viewer, whatever that is, isn't as rabid as we TV people are about what they see. So being off the air for several weeks could really hurt us.
Right. We're about ready to wrap up here. Thank you so much to everyone who called in. I'm sorry we couldn't take everyone's calls. We did try to get in as many of you as possible. And I'm just wondering if you can leave us with one tease of something that's coming up, what we can expect in future episodes.
I'll give you one great one.
Ooh.
I'll give you
great
one.
Is good.
And it's a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to be, if you really want to stay virginal in terms of your spoilery, close your ears now. But
or if you're like me, do tell.
But Veronica's boyfriend from episodes 1 through 4 last year, Troy Vandergraff, returns.
Ooh.
Yes, we will. You'll see him again this year. It's
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. All right. Good stuff. The show is amazing.
Thanks.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you for doing the show. Like I said, it just keeps getting better and better as far as I'm concerned, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much, and keep watching Veronica Mars, and take care. Thanks.